Welcome to the Undrafted Armchair Quarterbacks. We're Jim and Joe, lifelong friends, lifelong fans, bringing you fan-driven sports talk the way real fans do. No overpaid experts, no scripted analysis, just honest takes on the games, players, and the big stories shaping sports right now.
And we love having you join us. We want you to be a part of this. Drop your comments, questions, and takes. We'll read them all, bring them into future episodes. Please hit like, subscribe, tell your friends to join too. We're on every week on YouTube, Spotify, and wherever you listen. And we're here. Happy Friday,
Sure.
Joe.
We made it. Happy Friday. We haven't made it totally, but we're in. We're making it. So I'm happy. Still cold outside. Still ice on the ground up here in North Georgia. Getting a little bit more snow tomorrow. But hey, it's January is winding down. So looking forward to February because that means we're one step closer to the eternal spring. Which hey, haven't golfed in like 2 weeks. It's been horrible.
Yeah, you're kind of in a detox mode right now, but you
Oh,
can still belly up to the happy hour bar. It's Friday. You got that to look forward to, you know,
yeah,
and
no.
talking sports.
Is there anything better than that? Uh,
No,
Listen, it is a difficult time of year. I mean, I do get a little depressed, weather depression. It's a real thing, seasonal depression. I got my therapist on speed dial. Uh, Speaking of golf, I turned my TV on last night. I was channel checking, yawn, no college football, little basketball, but not starting till 7 o'clock. It's 6 o'clock, and I'm checking. And what do I see on there? The Farmers Open, beautiful San Diego, Torrey Pines. Golf is back. The PGA Tour is back on TV. It was like not a cloud in the sky. Everybody's in short sleeves and the fans are in short pants. I'm like, man, a little jealous, but it was great to see golf back on TV.
when we used to always go golfing, us and our buddies, we'd always say it the right way. Golf.
Golf. And now, to be honest with you, I was a little sick of hearing Bruce Koepka's name like 50 times in 30 minutes, you know. Okay, he's back on a PGA Tour. I get it. The guy hasn't won, no offense. No offense, Bruce. Love that you're back on a PGA Tour, and all of that, but let's face it, it's not like you've been a threat or anything like that. So, uh, I they're just it's like the PGA Tour's grasping for, anything to get more viewers, ever since Tiger left, they've got to create almost like a kind of a fake excitement level. Let's let the golf speak for itself sometimes. You know what I mean?
Right. Focus on the guys who are playing today.
Yeah,
Tell us more about these new
I
up
know
and comers.
a lot of them. I know the leaderboard's got a few on there. So, anyways, great to have golf back. We'll obviously be talking about golf as we move into the year. Uh, NCAA basketball, men's basketball, women's basketball too. It's full swing. Man, time flies, man. It's already they already got like 20 games under their belt, and obviously we know about March Madness, but man, the season's more than half over, and it's kind of like a blur.
And it's coming soon when you said those magical words, March Madness. It's
Yes,
coming. It's
I
almost, it'll be February on Sunday, so
you're right.
can't wait.
No,
But
you're
as
right.
of, we were just talking in the green room before the show. Ha ha. Nebraska, before last night's game, was 20-0. There's
Yeah,
another team.
yeah,
It's on.
unbelievable. I was looking at the who's who, and just looking down the list, and it's the usual suspects. Um, Arizona, and you could argue, oh wow, they're doing a little better than we expected, or UConn's doing a little worse, or actually UConn's doing good. Bad example, you know. But Purdue. But I'm looking down the list, and here's Nebraska. Like, wait, what? They were 20-0 on Tuesday, and they were 20-0 until Tuesday night, and excuse me, Wednesday night, and they lose to number 3 Michigan by 3. So respectable loss, but unbelievable, man. Nebraska was picked to finish 14th in their 18-team conference. So they are definitely a Cinderella shocker. Now, they could lose 10 straight starting today. So, but yeah, wow, good for them.
Be like Oklahoma State in the ninth week of the college football season, and you look at the polls and they're ranked like fifth and they're 9-0. You're like,
Yeah, yeah,
Nebraska?
yeah. We'll see. We'll definitely keep an eye on them. I mean, they're 12-0 at home. Hey, they're like the Nebraska women's volleyball team. I mean, right
Yep.
now it's like,
Yep.
whoa. I thought I was looking at the volleyball standings at first, but no, we'll keep an eye on them. Other than that, the usual suspects: UConn, Michigan, Duke, Gonzaga. So we'll see.
And it was last night, as you mentioned too. It was Michigan that only beat Nebraska by 3. So Nebraska is for real.
So far, yeah. So
Yeah,
we'll keep an eye on them and keep an eye on everything else and see what's going on.
it's like Hoosiers football. That felt
Yes,
weird this year, and now it's Huskers hoops. Wait a minute,
yes.
what show are we watching? These
Um,
guys talking
that
about
that's
Huskers basketball? What?
the Corn Huskers. Don't forget basketball. Was it Abner? No, who invented basketball? What was his name?
James
He inv-
Naismith.
yes, Naismith. He invented it with a peach basket. Uh, like nailed to a wall. So maybe if you have like any kind of a, corn or fruit or a vegetable, you know, relationship, maybe you have a small advantage.
I agree.
I don't know. Um, but we'll see. I will say this, we love all sports. Jim, we've grown up loving all sports. I mean, even playing, jacks with my sisters, was competitive, but we'll keep an eye on basketball, golf's in full swing. The Olympics are on the way. We know that. It's
Yes.
getting closer. It's kind of coming along faster and faster as we go. But I'll tell you what, as I'm looking last night as well on my TV, here's the Australian Open. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about the Australian Open. Jeez, how can you forget about that?
And growing up, I was Stan Smith, and who were you when we were playing each other in tennis? Which was daily.
Yes,
Ili Nastasi.
unbelievable.
You were the bad guy. I was the good guy. And now
Yeah,
today I'm wearing black. You're wearing white. We reversed everything. I'm kind of confused now.
yeah. Well, that's what we do. We keep it fresh. Sometimes I like to be the bad guy. You like to be the bad guy. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, but you were always Ili Nastasi. I was Stan Smith.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you, I loved tennis back in those days too with McEnroe and remember Yvonne Lendl and Yvonne
Yeah.
Lendl, they would ask Yvonne Lendl, he always just played the baseline and he played McEnroe and McEnroe would be at the net the whole time. Total contrast of styles. And they would
Yep.
ask Yvonne Lendl, how come you never go to the net? And Yvonne Lendl would say, I do go to the net one time to shake hands. I'm like, oh my God.
I love it. And
I
then the
know. It
Bjorn
was that
Borg
was great.
against Jimmy Connors years. That was
Yep,
always
yep.
great, man.
Well, I'll tell you, I was concerned over the last, I don't need 15 years maybe or so. I mean, Becker and that era, and we had Chang and we had some decent men's tennis, but I'll be honest with you, the US men's tennis has been horrible for many, many years. But maybe there's hope because in the Australian Open at least we had 9 American players reach the round of 16, which is unbelievable. 5 women and 4 men, and the 4 men, we haven't had that many men since 1997
That's
get
incredible.
into the round of 16. So that's progress as far as representing. They've kind of been good, and it's not the same old usual suspects either. Ben Shelton's been around, but we got Taylor Fritz now, Tommy Paul. Uh, you know, the women are representing as well. Anna Samova, Jessica Pagula, who's 30, by the way, didn't do much. All of a sudden, the last 3 majors, she's found her game at 30. So hey, there's hope for all of us. So,
and
anyways,
it's
I'm loving that.
and it's another warm weather sport as we're talking about. We're talking about the San Diego Open in golf. There's hope, folks. Spring's coming. And then the
Yes,
Australian Open where it looks like, oh wait, I don't want it to be like that already, but at least
I
they're all
know.
in the warm weather in Australia.
It's
So
funny you forget. Yeah, I know. It's like 92 degrees. They got the roof open. By the way, before we go, the finals. So Djokovic and center had number 4 against number 2 had an epic 5-setter last night. If you don't want to know who won, close your ears right now. But Djokovic comes out on top, which was a little bit of an upset. And then, whether you like him or not, um, it, it's just Alcaraz just keeps, close your ears again if you don't want to know. But Alcaraz, he had an epic match as well, and he comes out on top. So the finals are going to be Alcaraz and Djokovic again, which is crazy. Djokovic just keeps on winning. The guy's timeless.
It'd be awesome.
Yeah, I agree. Um, Quickly, just a quick point on the Olympics. Winter Olympics are coming. Um, I'm looking forward to it. I love the Summer Olympics, I really do. But to be honest with you, I don't want to say I love the Winter Olympics, more. But when it comes to team, not just team sports, but all of that. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's because I feel like we're underdogs in so many of those sports and stuff like that. I end up watching maybe more as come on USA kind of thing. But I'm looking forward to the Winter Olympics actually.
Absolutely, me too. And I mean, it was Jean Claude Killy. It's like, what? He spoke French? Is he okay? You know,
Yeah,
it was us against skiers like him, and we are the underdogs in the Olympics. It brings
we
up
are.
a lot of country pride. Me personally, and you too. Yeah,
No,
I'm
we
looking
are.
forward to it.
And you know what? It's going to be beautiful because from everything I can read, and I've been to Italy, not into the mountains, but I've been to Rome and I've been to Florence and the Amalfi Coast, and it's a beautiful country. This is going to be a little different than past Winter Olympics. It's really happening. The actual events are happening in two separate cities, which is interesting, Milan and Cortina, but all the venues are staggered all over different mountain clusters. It's going to be literally different climates. The traveling 400 miles apart in some cases. The conditions I've heard in some places there's going to be so much snow that they don't even know what to do with it. But in other venues, they're going to have to make like 80% of the snow. Um, I don't know. It's going to be interesting in that sense.
They should figure out a way to get drones to carry the snow and containers or something to ship the snow over and just spread it out. I don't know.
Hey,
That's
um,
that's crazy.
yeah,
Can't
no,
they
and
just change the venue back over to Milan instead of Cortina? I don't know. I
I,
don't know.
well, in the cities, of course, well, the villages and the ceremonies will be, but the actual venues are not in those cities. They're out, 50 miles away, 100 miles away on different like mountain sides and all of that. It's going to be good. Speaking of mountainsides, so there's a brand new sport I was reading about. This caught my attention because is pickleball going to be a summer sport? Probably. They're always kind of trying to keep up. Remember when snowboarding wasn't a thing? Now the half pipe, is. Um, well, they're always trying to invent. I don't know if they're inventing sports, but hey, what do people do out there? Let's make it a sport. It's called ski mountaineering. Yeah, brand new sport this year, and it's a serious thing. Athletes climb a mountain. They literally have to climb a mountain under their own power. They're not like, pulled up by ropes or anything. They literally got to climb a mountain. And then when they get to the top of the mountain, they race downhill on skis. I mean, unbelievable. It's like, endurance, speed, the sport where they ski cross country, they got to stop, pull out the rifle and shoot targets and all that to probably, the way it was 300 years ago living out, in the woods, you had to go ski and go shoot, your food. Well, this is I don't know, maybe it's after a plane crash or something. You got to climb a mountain and then ski down it.
And then they have to climb back up the mountain to go get their rifle. So as long as they don't
Oh,
show a whole lot of, as long as they don't
okay.
show a whole lot of the climbing scenes and just show them skiing down, or do they have to ski with their rifle on their, you know?
Well, this particular sport has no rifle, but hey, they can incorporate that in years to come. Yeah, maybe start shooting each other, with like BB guns or something. I don't know. But
I
no,
thought
it's
you meant that they had to stop at certain parts. My bad. I thought they had
well,
to
no, I
shoot it.
was saying, the current sport where they cross country ski and shoot targets, that's a sport already. This one now, this one's like kind of like that, where that probably simulates what it was like to live, 400 years. Shoot, some people probably live that way now, where, hey, you got to go out and get food. So I got to cross country ski, go shoot my raccoon or, whatever, and then grab it, then ski back. Well, this one is you got to climb a mountain and then ski down it. So maybe that's the way people have to survive over there. I don't know. Kind of weird.
Maybe,
Hey,
maybe my misunderstanding. We just created an idea for a new Olympic sport.
yeah. No, well, that's what, like I was saying, I think, you know what? Maybe you've just invented one. Next Winter Olympics, they're going to incorporate shooting into that whole thing. So, great news. The NHL has reached an agreement to pause the season to allow the NHL players to play in the Olympics, which is fantastic in my opinion. 2014 was the last time NHL players have played in the Olympics. I think it's great because we'll see, the who's who of the NHL in the Olympics representing, of course, their team. So I think that'll bring a great new level of excitement to the hockey, which was already exciting.
Didn't matter, but that adds fuel to the fire, especially when US and Canada square off. Just before they drop the puck, they'll get started. You know it. I know it.
Love it.
They won't even let the ref drop the puck. They'll
Love
be
it.
skating out onto the rink and it just starts.
Oh,
You know,
yeah. Well, it did last time before their gloves weren't even on
well,
fully because they knew they were coming off.
yeah.
I know.
Oh my
Um,
goodness.
well,
Yeah.
listen, hockey, there's been a lot of controversy. Will the rink be ready? I don't know if you've heard, but the rink was like every time someone inspected it, it had water, it had holes. It was terrible. It looks like the last inspection, the rink looks good. I did not know this. The rink is smaller than NHL diameter or specs. It's been approved by the NHL, and apparently there's an international size that it does, you know, get approved by. So it meets those standards. But yeah, the dimensions are a little bit smaller than the NHL. So just what we need. The boards are closer for hitting. So crazy.
I can't wait. And on
I
that
can't either.
subject, before we finish up with hockey, look out for the Lightning and the Avalanche. Still, I know I brought it up before. Both teams are like really starting to rise to the top, or they're
They
at the
are.
top.
They are.
And we have a game this Sunday here in Tampa, 40 miles south of me, and it's the Lightning and the Boston Bruins playing outdoor.
Outdoors.
And you had mentioned the inspections of the Olympics rink there. I wish they'd make our rink a little bit smaller. It might make it easier, but they seem to time this out like they knew exactly how, because we're expecting snow flurries Saturday night, a little bit north of Tampa, possibly into Tampa. It's going to be
Wow, good
that
timing.
cold, so they won't have to work that hard.
You know what? I was
Keeping it,
wondering when they
keeping it.
schedule this. I mean, what if the weather, because it's possible. What if the weather was 78 degrees? I'm sure they're prepared for that technology and all that, but still, is it nicer when it's, 50, 40 degrees kind of thing?
And for us that are suffering through the Super Bowl lull weekend, that hockey game is Sunday night at 6:30.
Love it.
Which, if they didn't have the week off for the Super Bowl, that's the time we'd all be ready to roll and watch the Super Bowl.
Love it.
So
Love it.
yeah, Bruins and the Lightning Sunday night
We'll,
6:30.
we'll check it out.
Yeah,
Speaking of
definitely.
Super Bowl, before we get to some of the NFL going on, there are things going on. Let's talk about the portal real quick. We're not
Yeah,
going to go over every single player who's been in the portal, going in the portal. If there is any it's closed, obviously, and I think everything's pretty much done now that the Mensa case has been settled. Um, but I did want to just highlight. I meant on last podcast to bring it up a little bit. I am very. It's really not the portal and what's happening. There's kind of two main events that really happened most recently that I'm interested to see what the outcomes or the effects of these are. And one of those is the Luke Ferrelli situation. Sure, most people who follow college football at least know exactly what's going on with that. This is the Cal linebacker who, by the way, was the rookie of the year in and defensive linebacker is his position. But anyways, he's enrolled at Cal. He transfers. He transfers to Clemson. No problem. Enrolls, goes to class. No problem. Apparently gets a text literally from Pete Golding. These things are normally done by proxy if you're tampering, and everyone does. I don't want to hear, everyone tampers, but they do it on the down low. They do it on the side. My cousin's friend's neighbor contacts, blah, blah, blah. This was the actual coach of Ole Miss reaches out to Forelli. How do I know this? They have the texts to prove it and offers him some money. Forelli wasn't interested, so no big deal. Laughs about it, shows those texts to Clemson. I don't know if it was actual Dabo or somebody in the coaching staff, but shows them to him. Obviously, they get pissed off. Well, nothing to worry about there because it was, laughed off until Pete Golding says, "What are you getting there?" and ups the offer to $2 million. And next thing you know, the day the portal's closing, they can't find Forelli because he is now gone. Going to Ole Miss. Wow.
In the old days, they'd put up a billboard, Nowadays, a text has a much more power than that. Oh my gosh. That's 2 million? 2 million.
Yeah, 2 million. And of
Just to
course,
get him on campus to go
$2
play
million
for
dollars for a
Ole Miss.
linebacker, that, that's part of the head scratcher here. But I'll be honest with you. So really the reason this is getting so much attention is obviously the tampering wasn't like even under, behind closed doors. It was on a phone, on a
Right.
text,
Right.
blatantly by the Ole Miss coach. By the way, Fresno State has also brought up an exact, I don't want to say exact, but a very similar situation, and they have the evidence as well. I mean, no offense, but when I was watching Pete Golding on the sideline and feeling sorry for him because Lane Kiffin left him high and dry, and poor Pete Golding left holding the bag and all that pity meter is going down quick because Pete Golding apparently is just, I mean, blatantly reaching out to these players and offering money. So Dabo Sweeney has a press conference and basically says, hey, listen, losing the player aside, okay, that's not the main point to me. It's just the tampering is blatant and the whole timing with this Porter is BS. Kids are having to make, life-changing decisions, in days because the playoffs are going on. No one has time to really think about it. It's a mess. You and I have said this forever. It's a mess. It needs to be fixed. But this situation, the NCAA is investigating it. So in closing, I'm just curious what's going to come out of this. Any punishments? Any real punishment for Ole Miss? We'll see.
And how is this now starting to correlate to the days of yore? How is it affecting all conferences? How is it making the sport different now? It's not just a certain conference that's doing it.
Yeah,
What do you got?
I
What
mean,
do you think on that?
well,
Parity?
you and I have talked about it. I mean, obviously, everyone knows, agrees. NIL and the portal have really leveled the playing field in a lot of ways. There would have been no Indiana story 5 years ago, um, and so for that, I think it's a good thing for the sport. My personal opinion on the SEC. Someone asked me the other day, man, the SEC look 0 for 3 now in championships and a little down. And, Alabama, who's arguably the third best team this year, look like, crap, blah, blah, blah. I think the SEC is losing a little bit of its stranglehold on this whole situation because I'm not saying the reason they were good were cheating and all that. Like everyone does it. But let's face it, not everyone could do it. Not everyone could offer the money to these kids, 5, 6, 7 years ago. There's no accident you walk by some of these SEC parking lots, Big Ten, ACC too, Clemson's parking lot too, and there's Mercedes and Cadillacs all over the place before NIL. Well, those days are gone. Not maybe totally gone to some schools, but gone a lot. And you get the high and mighties, the Kirby Smarts of the world. Hey, we don't participate in that. If they want to come here, they want to be dogs. That's BS. They've been doing it all along, but now they have to do it in a competitive landscape, which isn't the same thing.
And that might be why Ole Miss and Pete Golden had to up that ante because they were trying to get a really good linebacker away from the
Well,
ACC. So,
and somehow they think they can do it out in the open. Tamper. That's clearly tampering. So, I mean, it's weird. But listen, one other thing. Miami got Mensa. It got settled. It didn't go to court. I think that's good. Really, Miami's probably paying, a buyout plus what Mensa is going to take, being number two quarterback. So it's probably costing him 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 million. Who knows? Hey, Miami got 20 mil from going to the national championship. So, they're playing with house money. But if it would have gone to court, if Duke lost, Wild West show, player wins, I can sign a 2-year deal and no one cares. If Duke won, NCAA's freaking out. Well, this contract was written like an employee contract, so he can't leave, or he's going to pay $4 million. That would have been an interesting, what happens then. The fact that it got settled though does bode well as a step in the right direction because Miami didn't just say, or Miami was not involved in the lawsuit, but Mensa didn't just say, I'm out of here. There was some kind of retribution that had to be given Duke. Now, obviously, it wasn't from Miami directly because Miami wasn't named in the suit, but Mensa had to pay some kind of buyout to get out of his 2-year deal. Now, Miami's probably supporting that, but at least there's some repercussions. So maybe a player that costs 5 million that has a 2-year deal in place is going to cost 10, and that may deter. We'll see. I think it's a step in the right direction.
I hope so. I hope so because it's 1 year is going to be a team that trades their offense for the other team's defense. It's just I don't know. You know what I
Yep.
mean?
Yep. No, I do too. I do too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, the other thing too is not in the portal, but in the Fernando Mendoza news, he's everywhere, right?
Yeah.
He'll be the first pick. I hope the Raiders get him, man. The more I look at him, he's big, he's tough, he's a great spokesman and representative for your team. He looks to be like a great leader. So, anyways, but is he getting flack? Is he getting negative publicity for helping his parents out with some of his earnings?
I hope not. And if he is getting flack, then that's a story that I'm not looking at. So how many
Okay.
clicks are they going to get from me? Zero. If the
Yeah.
kid
Well,
wants to help remodel his parents' house, especially with his mother feeling the way she's feeling,
yeah,
she's afflicted with a terrible disease.
yeah,
Hearts go out to her. He can spend his money. I don't care. And if
yeah.
he's spending it on his parents, I think that raises what a great kid he is.
No kidding. Now I'm not saying there was any negative publicity. When you and I were talking, I don't know. Listen, there's always going to be the
There
haters.
was.
10%. There's always some haters.
Right.
Uh, but yeah, whoever did negatively speak about that, they obviously either are complete miserable people when they wake up in the morning looking for something to, complain about, or they don't know his story and that his mom has MS. They're not multimillionaires. They spent a lot of money getting him through, all of his and his brother, all of his stuff to get there. So if he wants to help, modernize their house for his mom, she's in a wheelchair. So, anyways, we'll move on from that. That's disgusting. If anybody thinks that's problem, players are using their money for a lot of other things that aren't as noble. I can tell you that.
Haters gonna hate, and I'll pray for him.
Yeah, me too. Good way to put it. All right, let's move on to the NFL. We're waiting for Super Bowl time. The Patriots are going to wear their white uniforms. They were 5-0 this year in those uniforms, even including the playoffs. They're 3-1 in the last 4 Super Bowls wearing those uniforms, so that's good. But more importantly, the coaches. Any of the recent coaching changes catch your attention?
Yeah, Todd Monken to the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns, once again, I think got rid of a very good head coach who was extremely respected in that entire organization. They let him go and they hire a long-time offensive coordinator. The Cleveland Browns strike again. That's all I got to say. Poor
I like what you
Brownies.
just
They'll
said.
never
I
get
like
to
what
the
you just said. Yeah, they
Super
just
Bowl.
fired a offensive coordinator, head coach.
Right. And then they rehired another one who's been in the NFL, and this will be his first head coaching opportunity. So I wish him well. I always kind of hope we'd see the Browns in the Super Bowl, and not in the way that a lot of people say it's supposed to see, where they see the Browns in the Super Bowl. But I mean, come on.
Yeah. How do you feel about Soleil going to Tennessee?
I like it, but there's a problem with who he hired as his offensive coordinator. Is he going to get along with your boy from Miami, Mr. Cam Ward?
Um, why not? I
Why
mean,
not?
you
Let
know,
him do his thing.
listen, I like the fact that they brought in Brian Daboll because, he's a head coach at New York, obviously. Between the two of them, they know what it looks like. Neither one was real. The only thing I'm worried about is between Robert and Brian, they weren't that successful. I mean, so, you know, um, hey, but you know what? Short of bringing in McCarthy or somebody, I guess it's a good pick.
Yeah, and plus they're going to be drafting extremely high again this year to solidify. So they're going to be getting a great player out of the college ranks. So
Yeah.
we'll see what happens there in Tennessee. And then
Yeah.
the McDaniel, as now he had Tua, who was picked, I think, fourth in the draft. Now he's got Herbert, who was picked right after Tua in that draft. Now he's going to try to see if he can get that San Diego. Oh, pardon me. Okay, the San Diego Chargers offense. So that's going to be interesting with Mike McDaniel now in as the Chargers offensive coordinator. That's notable. Yeah, going to see what
Well,
happens there.
if given my choice of working with Tua or working with Herbert, I'm taking the latter.
Mm-hmm.
Um, no offense, at least today's Tua. I mean, I think he's going to turn out to be one of those guys who's a really good coordinator, not the best head coach, and you can tell by his quirkiness and all, he just doesn't look like a commanding presence in the locker room to me, McDaniel. You know what I mean? And I think that matters in the NFL. It matters in every sport, but I don't picture him, getting everybody in the locker room in the NFL to be like staring at him, hinging on his every word.
And
Um,
the
it,
poster child. Oops, sorry. Go ahead.
no, I was just going to say, coordinator Patrick Graham leaving the Raiders, going to the Steelers. As a Raiders fan, first of all, not sad that Graham's gone, but going from the Raiders to the Steelers, that should be illegal.
And the poster child for an offensive coordinator who's not going to be really that great as a head coach is now the offensive coordinator of the New England Patriots again, Josh
Yeah,
McDaniel.
yeah.
So,
Well, third time's the charm for him.
yep, it sure
It's
looks
great.
like it.
Yeah. I mean, hey, listen, the Eagles finally, a lot of pressure to fire their OC, so they do. They bring in Sean, Mannion from the Green Bay Packers, quarterbacks coach, but whatever. Do I, I've got some Buffalo Bills friends, Buffalo Bill fans, who friends of mine. Anyways, they don't like the Joe Brady promotion. I think it's great personally, but what do I know?
He's been red hot over the last few years. I agree with you. Why not? Let him take the helm. Go for it.
Yeah, I think for that team, especially with Josh Allen, who was involved in this decision, I think for that team more than maybe most, I think it was really important to bring, to promote Joe Brady, who's been there and been part of this run, than to bring in an outsider. So I'm just throwing names out, Mike McCarthy or somebody like that, somebody who's outside of the Buffalo family for right now. 5 years from now, 4 years from now, Josh Allen's, on the downslide or retires, then, sure, bring in somebody new. But for right now, while they still have their nucleus, especially on offense intact, I think it was a good move.
Yep. And we just have a couple more openings. Your Raiders,
Come
and
on.
I believe
John Gruden? Is John Gruden coming out of retirement?
I guess the Jets called him, and he was like, "Nah." And
Yeah. Yeah. I would love that, man.
then we got the Arizona Cardinals opening as well. And then the big story over the weekend, which we could talk about very quickly now, but more on our next episode, is the Bill Belichick snub.
Mm.
That was got a lot of people confused, including myself, and I'm just kind of like, ugh. What are your
Um,
thoughts?
well, we've talked about this, you and I.
Yeah.
Rumor was Deflategate mattered. Rumor was, which by the way, I don't think he had a lot to do with that, but let's face it, spying on teams, there was a lot of little baggage, his girlfriend. There's just a lot of things about Bill Belichick that, people don't like, overlooking his statistics, his record.
Yeah.
And people like that hurt him. But you brought up a very good point, that there might be another reason. What was that?
The rumors of him going right back into coaching in the NFL, which
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised right now if some teams have been trying to call him and say, "You want to leave Chapel Hill for Vegas, or to Arizona, to the desert?" That possibility, and then the other one is there was that stigma that until he retires as a college coach and just retires for good, I think they said he's not eligible to be officially voted in on the ballot and elected to the Hall of Fame until he's done as a college coach. So there's so much stuff I've read where I'm going, okay, give me the reliable source,
Yeah.
It's just,
Just my opinion. I'm pretty confident he was eligible. He was on the ballot.
yeah,
New rules for coaches. New rules say that you only have to be 1 year out of retirement or NFL. But I do like your take that if the
appreciate.
confidence level that you're not coming back in a year, if that's a real possibility, then maybe I want to give it a year to see what happens before I put him in there. Because I don't know, has it ever happened that someone's been elected into the Hall of Fame and then come back to the NFL, either as a player or a coach? I don't know if that's ever happened. And it's probably because you got to wait 5 years, right? Well, with new rules, only a year, it could easily happen where a coach is elected into the Hall of Fame and then ends up coaching again. Now, what's wrong with that? Does that ruin anything? Is that a problem? So I don't even know why that might be an issue. So what? You can stand on the sideline with your gold jacket for all I care. But, um,
Right.
I think it's more about off the field stuff. He just rubs people the wrong way in a lot of the things he's doing, and then some of the controversy around the New England Patriots. But to be honest with you, not to not the same as Pete Rose, but those kind of matters since it's really not a computer voting; it's people, and they do have these opinions.
Yes. And then we'll see. You know what? He'll get elected next year. Okay, the story will be done,
Yep,
you know.
that's right.
So
Well, we'll talk about it, and you know what? When it does, we'll be there to talk
that's
about it,
right.
right?
That's right.
So, hey, listen, I we're going to keep an eye on all of this. I think it was a great discussion today. I've got I wish I had like 7 TVs going. We've got the Australian Open. We've got golf on. We've got Super Bowl next week. We've got all Olympic news happening. It's hard to keep up with, but we are because we're the undrafted armchair quarterbacks.
That's
So
right.
that's it for this episode of the Undrafted Armchair Quarterbacks with Jim and Joe. Thanks for checking us out and hanging with us for some real fan-driven sports talk.
Please don't forget your comments are a part of the show. The next show we're going to have some viewer and listener comments to talk about, and we look forward to that because some of them are great, and we
Always
get corrected a bit here and there, but that's why we're the undrafted armchair
love it.
quarterbacks. Please keep those comments coming. Subscribe, tell your friends, drop them below. We'll read them, feature them in future episodes. We promise. Be sure to like and subscribe and catch us every week for free on YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, and TikTok, or wherever you listen. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Mr.
All right.
Joe.
Thank you, Jim. Appreciate you, man. I'm looking forward to that Australian Open final. It's going to be epic.
Yes, sir. Me too.
All right. Talk to you soon, man. Take care.